Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Dr. Andrew Kim M.D., and today's video is about what is a situationship and how to recognize if you're currently in one. Thank you for all you viewers, all you subscribers. I appreciate you continuing to watch me. Please remember to like and subscribe. So, first of all, what is this kind of new phenomenon that's become that much more popular amongst the younger generation called situationships? What does that even mean? So, kind of the loose consensus definition right now of situationships is this is defined as a romantic or sexual relationship that isn't considered to be formal or established. There's kind of a lack of clear boundaries or labels. A relationship that kind of lives in the gray. So the person you're with isn't your official partner, but they're not just a friend. Okay. Many will also tack on the concept that a situationship has no expectations or commitment. But I kind of disagree with that. I think if there's an expectation that there are no expectations, that in itself is an expectation, right? So, kind of a strange premise, right? So, bottom line, situationships are just a variation of relationship subtypes. It's kind of on a different part of the spectrum from committed relationships, slightly different than friends with benefits. Now, I'm going to say, yes, I am a little biased, okay? I believe that this concept, this notion of a quote unquote true, long lasting, healthy situationship is probably more idealistic fancy than a reality, probably in most cases. I don't want to say 100%, but I'd say most cases from what I've seen at least, all right? Now, I don't feel that a situationship in itself is an inherently bad or an inherently unhealthy thing in theory, keyword theory, right? But theory falls apart when you involve human beings. I'm sorry, it does, okay? Because humans are messy, we're emotional for better or worse, right? And as humans, we all have needs, we have desires, we have fantasies, we have expectations. So inevitably, most situationships come to an end because someone wants more, someone wants even less, needs and expectations are misaligned, and life goes on, right? I believe that situations can work in the short term, intermediate term, or even in specific chapters of one's life, but I'd say it's challenging. It's challenging in the long run just because of human nature itself. Okay. So, why? First of all, before we get into recognizing if you're in one, like, why has this become so popular? Like, why has this become so popular, especially amongst teenagers, college, grad school, early 20s to 30s? Why has this become kind of such a popular concept and gaining this much traction? Well, I think there's multiple factors. I think there's kind of a factor of the paradox of choice, is what many will call it. In this day and age, oh my gosh, it's so much different than when I was growing up, right? I did dabble in some online dating, but definitely this is, the peak of online dating right now, right? So you go on a dating app, put your profile picture, fill out a bio, you do some filters, and bam, right? Instantly, probably 100 matches, 100 potential partners, 50 matches. You're in a metropolitan area, you're on a college campus, who knows, right? Tons and tons depending on the filters you're setting, right? So when you have so many options, it's hard, right? It's hard to say I'm just going to commit to this one person in this kind of more traditional, committed, exclusive type of relationship that has these milestones and expectations that have been kind of laid out by society, right? Now, I also believe, right, in kind of that stage of life, post high school, whether you're in college, you're in the workforce, grad school, early adulthood, it's a natural time. We call it what? Separation individuation is the term in the mental health field, right? You're carving out your identity on your own, separate from the family unit, right? No longer are you totally dependent financially, totally dependent on the housing of your family, right? Don't have to necessarily obey the rules of the house anymore. So you're carving out your own identity, your own value system, developing your own goals. You're also kind of developing the identity of how you want relationships to look like. And you're trying to explore and learn what you want to get from them, what kind of boundaries you want to set, what you like and don't like about certain partner types. So this is a natural evolution of your growth into adulthood, in addition to the paradox of choice. Now, another thing would be, look, this younger generation, right? Not to sound old, but I'm just being serious, right? They are redefining and pushing the concepts of gender, sexuality, and now even the concepts of what relationships are expected to look like. But at the same time, let's be real, humans are humans. Because we've kind of carved out a new coin term, a new niche of a relationship subtype, relationships are relationships. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, so it's an interesting, intriguing, novel concept. I don't think it's novel in itself, right? Whether you want to say traditional relationships, friends with benefits, situationships, these are just different subtypes of relationships. Now, what are some of the signs, right? What are some of the signs to recognize you're in a situationship? Let's first talk about the no duh overt explicit signs. And I'm being serious, right? It's going to sound silly at first, but just bear with me, right? No duh sign number one. The person you're with or you yourself are saying to the other, this is a situationship. Okay, I know you're going to be like, "What? That was stupid." No, I'm being serious. Trust me. Okay, trust me when I say, even when that is explicitly stated, sometimes the other person still doesn't get it, or they're in denial. They can't believe that the other person is actually wanting that. They're secretly hoping this is going to be more than a situationship. I can't tell you, on a weekly basis, I work in telehealth right now with a young population, young adults, college students, grad students. Trust me, when I interview them and I ask them about their social history, and I ask them about their dating situation, their marital situation, their romantic life, and oftentimes every single week I'll get someone inevitably kind of meekishly look up at me, kind of, almost kind of giggling and chuckling, saying, "Oh, yeah, I'm kind of in this situationship." And I go, "Okay, kind of, or are you?" And they're like, "Well, right now it is, but I'm really hoping for more. They said it is, but I'm secretly hoping for more." Well, okay, that's already a problem, right? So that's what I'm saying, that it's the no duh sign number one. Yet the no duh sign gets ignored all the time. Because again, back to my comments earlier, expectations, hope, fantasies, that's where things go awry with this kind of theory about non-committal, we're both cool with this. Like, yeah, in theory it sounds nice. So again, inherently sounds fine, but you involve two humans and this is what happens, right? People even miss the no duh sign number one. No duh sign number two: the person you're with is romantically and sexually involved with other people. You're caught off guard. You're surprised by this. Okay. Well, that's another no duh sign. Maybe now it's time to have that DTR define the relationship talk and say, "Hey, what's going on? I thought we were doing X, Y, and Z. You're saying we're in a situationship and there isn't any commitment." Okay. Now, what are the kind of more subtle, I guess the subtler, right? Not the non no duh signs, right? So there's a few other things. I think in general, right, you're noticing that there aren't many indicators of growth or evolution of your relationship. In a traditional committed relationship, oftentimes you and the partner are working towards milestones, there's evolution, you're being brought into that inner circle, right? You're meeting more friends, you're meeting family members, you're working towards long term goals together about, hey, what are our plans? Do we want to live together? Do we want to move to the same city as we're pursuing career goals to continue this relationship together? You're celebrating anniversaries and milestones, our 6 month anniversary, our 12-month anniversary, um, in a situationship, right? You're not necessarily seeing that evolution, right? Oftentimes there is compartmentalization occurring, and it's very common. Your situationship is boxed into one particular segment or domain of the other person's life, and you're not really integrated. There's a lack of integration into the other aspects of their life, and you're just kind of, compartmentalized into this one area. There's inconsistency. There's short term planning, last minute planning. It's about the here and now versus, planning ahead, planning for the future, planning for 1 week from now, 1 month from now. It's like, what's the deal? I mean, we're here now. Let's just enjoy it, right? Last minute planning kind of reigns supreme, right? So these would be things, other signs besides the no duh signs, the explicit overt, we already defined it as a situationship. These would be the other indicators of that, right? So, look, when are there signs that maybe it's time to move on, right? So again, without being judgy, right? I mean, maybe it was fine for one chapter of your life. You were exploring things, you don't want to commit. But what are some other warning signs for you? We'll kind of wrap up with that maybe it is time for you to move on, to either say we need to have that discussion to evolve this relationship further. Are you with me? And are we in mutual agreement of that? Or maybe do I need to move on, right? If you constantly and regularly are feeling, right, you're dealing with a lot of uncertainty, anxiety, mixed signals, and that's pretty unsettling to you. You want more, they don't, or vice versa. You guys are misaligned. You're anxious a lot because of that ambiguity, the uncertainty. You feel like you're being manipulated, right? And again, I'm not trying to paint this as an evil thing. I'm just saying, unfortunately, situationships are oftentimes ripe for manipulation given the ambiguity and gray. So imagine this formula: ambiguity, grayness, and someone who is very insecure, someone who is very shy. Not the best mix, right? Often a breeding ground for anxiety. And then the more overt things: you're bored, you're unhappy, you're bored by the lack of evolution, you're arguing a lot, etc., right? So just again, you have to be in tune with yourself, these warning signs, what you value, what you desire, what you need, and are these things matching up? And again, that term I used, right? Separation, individuation, how situationships may work for a certain chapter or segment of your life. As you're exploring a situationship, again, you may decide it continues to be something that fulfills my needs, or you may say, I'm even evolving in what I'm looking for in a relationship. And it may not be, again, this judgy right and wrong. It may just be, I'm not looking for this anymore. This doesn't resonate with me. Now my needs are in a different place. I'm not getting them met through situationships. And that's because of that misalignment of just you're not getting your needs and values met. That in itself is a breeding ground for conflict, inner turmoil, overt turmoil with the other person, dissatisfaction, right? So again, that's just kind of a brief synopsis on what this concept is about. What a situationship is, how it's kind of loosely defined. Although, again, not inherently bad or unhealthy in theory. Why I think theory falls apart where you involve two messy human beings. So look, I know I did come across with some bias, but I didn't say 100% of the time it's not going to work. It's never going to work. It can't work at a certain point in your life. I think we've all been there. There have been times where we're like, I'm not ready for commitment. Look, after my first marriage, I got divorced. I'm on marriage number 2. There was a period where I was just like, I need to figure out what's going on, right? I need to really better define what I'm looking for. I wasn't quite ready yet to commit, but I wanted to still test the waters with relationships. I mean, so trust me, I understand that there are going to be junctures in your life where this might make sense. I'm just leery of conceptualizing this as a long-term sustainable thing in most cases, not all, but most. So look, I'm fascinated though, right? I'm open-minded. I'd love to hear more about this from people who have been in explicit situationships where you say, I was in one in the past, it's not for me anymore. I'd love to hear about that. I'm currently in one now, and these are the things I like, and it's working out great. I love to hear that. I'm in one right now. I don't like it so much. I'd like to hear about that. Or it is perfect and it's wonderful and you're a moron, Dr. Kim, right? Whatever. Like, let's just hear it. I just want to hear. I'm fascinated to hear and learn more about human psychology, about relationships. So please post in, the comments below, whether you're in one, you were in one, you know someone who's in one, your loved one, like your children are in one. I'm just curious. Let's hear it. And I will interact, try to give some comments, ask you some questions, like to learn some from you. So thank you again for listening. Please subscribe, please like, please follow me, and remember to follow me on my live streams, the Insomniacs live stream late at night, Tuesdays and Saturdays, 10:30 Central, 11:30 Eastern. We might increase it to being more frequent, but for now, that's what we're going to do. So thank you again, Dr. Andrew Kim. Until next time, guys, appreciate you, and leave your comments below.